Can we talk for a minute about our Integrating Heart and Mind workshop?
Absolutely. I'm excited. It's coming up in the fall of 2024.
I'm so excited. We changed the format to make it more accessible to people with like work schedules and personal schedules. And so this time we're going to do it 3 hours on a Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're at, and 5 hours on Saturday for 2 different weeks in September.
Yeah, it's so great. Like if you're finding yourself stuck in like sticky bad patterns or having communication issues or something like that, or if you want to just like get closer and trust yourself or your partner more, this is the workshop for you.
Yeah, and individuals are welcome, couples are welcome. If you're interested in really thinking through how to serve yourself well inside of your relationships, then we've built a workshop that will support you in finding the ways that are just right for you.
To sign up, head over to our website at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We hope you'll join us. Welcome to the Why Does My Partner podcast.
I'm Jules.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Rebecca. We're your hosts. We're also couples therapists and messy humans bumbling through our own relationships every day.
We met at a training, and our secret sauce is that we and our partners became fast friends. Between us, we have more than 40 years of experience holding hard relational questions with our clients. We're going to bring those questions here.
And together, we're going to take a stab at answering those questions. This podcast is not a substitute for couples therapy. If something you hear in this podcast stirs something deep within you about your relationship, reach out to a couples therapist in your area.
We also love to hear your questions, so don't forget to go over to whydoesmypartner.com to leave a question of your own. Our next live workshop, Integrating Mind and Heart, will be held online from September 22nd to 24th, 2023.
If you want to get closer and trust each other and yourself to get through the hard moments, this is the workshop for you.
Sign up at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
Today's question is, why does my partner have expectations of me? It's never ending. He'll offer to do something nice, like take me out for dinner, and then blame me that he spent all that money at the next argument. Or he'll help me while he was injured and then get angry with me. A sign of emotional immaturity, in my opinion.
Ooh, you know what where I go to whenever I hear questions about expectations is, what is it that you're sensing your partner has expectations of?
Fairness in this case?
I think in this case, fairness. I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's such a tit for tat energy. There's such like a, oh, he'll do something and then he'll blame me. He'll, da 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 da. But it's on both sides because the person who's writing this question is like also in a judgy, in my opinion, place.
So really, this is bringing me to thoughts around, well, what if we're looking for fairness in a relationship, which some of us are, I don't think that's weird or wild or whatever. But if we're looking for fairness, what do we mean when we say that?
Oh,
like what feels fair to me and what feels fair to my husband might be totally different things.
That's why I made that noise, because I was like, I so want to say that on paper it would all look the same, and I know that it really doesn't.
I just want to call big baloney there. Like, and I watched my language really carefully there for you, Vic.
Thank you. I really I was like, baloney, that's a new one.
That was just so she wouldn't call bullshit.
I
said it.
You had to get it.
I had to. It's true.
My little ears.
So, but here's the thing. The reason I think it's such bullshit.
Go ahead. I can handle it. I can hear it. I'm a big girl.
The reason I think it is because, like, we're all seeking some kind of fairness. It's like there's this. Where does it come from? Like, what's the seed that starts that seeking of fairness? It's usually like, I've been wronged somewhere. Something didn't feel okay, right? I was a victim somewhere, right? And like that kind of energy then turned into another space becomes, like it becomes the person who's trying to hold power over something else or someone else.
Mhm.
right? So now we're like
Mhm.
attacking from a
Yeah.
victim position, but we say that we're seeking fairness.
Oh, wait, slow down. You use that term, and I think it's so important for everybody to hear it. You said attacking
From the
from a
victim
victim
position.
position. So
Uh-huh.
let's slow down and define that, because I'm not sure people are always going to follow that.
Yeah,
but
I
it's a
did say
really
that really
key.
quick.
It's but it's
Yeah.
such an important concept, and so I really want to slow us down. How would you define that if you were talking to someone in your office, or even you turning towards yourself and say, "Oof,
Yeah. Oh gosh,
I'm
there's so many
attacking from
times.
that space."
There are
Well,
Yeah.
so
the
many
example I
times.
can give is, let's say, God bless him, but let's say that Gabe really is being a jerk.
Mhm.
He's human. For me to say, you don't have to be a jerk about it, is I was a victim. He's doing something negative,
Mhm.
whatever, but then I don't have to go back and start name calling on top of it.
Mm.
And it
So
could
that's me
be you're
lashing out as well.
perceiving yourself as a victim.
Yes.
Let's
Sure.
imagine
Yeah,
you could
yes,
also do
perceiving.
it from
That's
a
fair.
space, right? Let's say he wasn't actually being a jerk, but you were guessing he was being a jerk. And
Sure.
you still, there's a self-justification in it, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the key in it.
Yeah,
It's like,
I like
you
that
know
term.
what? I do get to do this, which is technically
Yes.
kind of sort of out of my integrity, but it's totally fine that I act out of my integrity, because you kind of deserve it, because you kind of hurt me
Yes.
first.
Yeah.
So it's cool now, right?
Yes. Yes.
Am I getting it? Yeah.
It's that
Yeah.
retaliation, right? My
It's a
dog is barking in the
retaliation.
background, folks. It's
Mhm.
that retaliation bit, right? Because it's like well, you deserve it.
I'm laughing because
Mhm.
in my example, he does. Just
Totally.
FYI.
See that internal plane, right?
Yeah.
This is
I'm
exactly
just
what we're
putting it out
talking
there.
about.
Yes.
Well, and can I pause and drop a little bit of the science space into this
Please do.
conversation?
Sure. One of
So
these days, I'm going to say no, just to
I
throw
love
you
it.
off.
And you know what? I would be like, okay, let's not today.
I know you.
And then we would move on.
And then we move on. But no, please do. Please do.
I'm thinking about Franz de Waal. So Franz de Waal's work.
I don't know the name. Sorry, that's why I'm laughing.
No, totally. It's actually
'Cause of
in
course you are.
apes. And he was
Okay.
looking at various apes, big great apes, and thinking through, like, how do they respond to various stimuli. And he was doing these experiments where they would give an ape like a celery for doing a
Mhm.
thing. So they've taught them to do a thing, and you get a celery reward. And if you get a celery and your neighbor in the next cage also gets celery, everything's cool. But if you get celery and they get a
Oh.
grape, you get poop thrown at your head by ape number one. They get very upset. They get super, super, super upset. And then I lean into, like, woof, all the way into, and some work done by Antonio Damasio, where he was actually noticing even shunning behaviors by single cell organisms like bacteria.
Wait, so
Where
what you're saying is this is our biology?
I'm saying it's our biology
Oh,
to
okay,
care a
okay,
lot.
okay.
As an interdependent species, it is our biology not to throw poop. No, no, no. That's not what I'm suggesting. That's not what I'm suggesting. I am not justifying throwing poop at people. Do not do that, please.
Snorting.
I'm so hoping our audience didn't need to hear that explicitly. I should put that out there.
Oh,
I
I
think
think
they're
we all
fine.
needed to hear that
I think
explicitly.
we maybe all needed to hear that explicitly. No, I'm not suggesting. I'm not suggesting that it justifies any behavior. What I'm suggesting is that perhaps in a DNA wiring of an interdependent species, it sure would behoove us as a group to recognize when someone is overutilizing resource. Because
Okay,
we're
wait, slow down
all-
and say that last part again. It would
Mhm.
behoove us as a group
Interesting.
to recognize when someone is overusing resource.
Correct.
So
we
can
should have a visceral
equate-
reaction to that.
Yeah, as an interdependent species,
Mhm.
we could equate fairness on some level
Mhm.
with justice seeking.
Totally, it is justice seeking. I don't even think it's kind of that. I think it is absolutely that. And I think it's in our wiring to feel upset.
Yes.
Now, what you do with that upset You get to have
Don't
a
throw
pause
poop.
between you get to have a pause between what you feel and what you do. I'm thinking about that beautiful scene from Ted Lasso when when Roy's talking about really liking Keely. Spoiler alert, if you've never seen Ted Lasso, I'm about to ruin an episode for you. It's early on in the series, but still.
But really, if you haven't
Yes,
seen it,
we
why?
are.
Go watch it.
Yeah,
Totally.
that too. But you are totally
So-
ruining something.
Totally, I am ruining a moment. So, Roy Kent is wanting to date Keely, and he's not sure because he's having a lot of difficult feelings, and he says, "I can't control my feelings," right? In that Roy Kent way, he does, and Ted Lasso goes, "Well, then by all means, you should let them control you." Right? So I am not suggesting that we should not have a pause between what we feel and what we do. What I am suggesting is that it is in the DNA wiring of interdependent species to be aware when someone is overusing resources.
Mm.
Because it is really important to our survival when we're sharing resources, when we need to have some sort of equity in order to maintain our wellness and thrive, both
Mhm.
survive and thrive. That you should at least pay attention, maybe,
Mhm.
when somebody is not getting the same stuff as you or more than you. It should set off alarm bells in us a little bit.
And I'm just thinking as we're having this conversation, I'm
Mhm.
thinking about things like,
Mhm.
I don't know, how like gender equity kind of stuff through generations, through like
Mhm.
different periods of time,
Mhm.
also contribute in some level to what expectations are, right? Like
Mhm.
how our great grandparents experienced relationships and how we might experience them today might have some shifts and differences.
Well, I'm living in a world that's post-feminism, right?
Right.
So I was born in 77. And so that means I was born in a world where people had already burned bras in streets.
Mhm.
And so the world I'm coming up in is seeing inclusion and equality for the genders in a different way than had I been born in 1950.
Sure.
You know, there's no way to not
There's
have
no way to
that
not.
effect. So,
Mhm.
I think too, though, in any kind of moment when we're talking about power over, power under, unequal dynamics starting to be called out in larger ways, it changes the landscape,
Totally does.
right? So the level of equity expectation that my daughter might have is going to be bigger than the one I have because we're born at different times. So I don't know. This just makes me wonder, like, when you're in a couple, when you're in a relationship, when you're in a pod, whatever formation that is taking for you, I guess I'm wondering, well, what is equity to you? What is fairness to you? What is justice to you? And if you get it, what needs get met for you? So, like, if this couple, was
Yeah.
sitting in front of me, I'd be wondering for him, for her, what I don't know. I don't think
Presumably.
genders were named.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
only
I
know
don't
one
think
gender.
genders. Yeah. So I'd be wondering, oh, inside that disagreement, what was important for you about bringing up how much you paid for dinner? That's the U-turn, right?
And for the
And
person
I'm
who's asking the question,
Mhm.
also, like, what's important about the judgment of emotional immaturity here,
Mhm.
right? Like, what is that piece? Because that feels like another fairness move in here, right? Like that
Mhm.
doesn't, because it
That's
On
the offending
both
from the
sides.
victim position, you're
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think they're both doing it. I think both partners in this particular scenario where the
sure. I
person
see
who's
that.
asking this question,
Mhm.
I think both partners are having this tendency, it sounds like, I don't know, I only know the question that they're asking, is both partners seem to be taking that leap of, that's not fair, let me do this, right? That's not fair, I'm taking a
Mhm.
dig, right? Like that
Totally.
seems to be a dynamic inside of here.
Oh
That's a good
my
way to
gosh,
phrase it.
this is so huge that people slow down though and sit with what you just said, Becca. Because, okay, so notice the piece when we feel like unfairness has happened. What do?
We throw poop.
We throw poop, we retaliate. Totally. We do. We do.
I'm
We
just
also
gonna forever
might
have this
like
image
bare our
of poop
teeth.
throwing now.
Totally.
It looks different, thank goodness.
We also might
It's
grab the bars and
figurative.
start shaking them, and we
Yeah.
might bare our teeth
Yeah.
like exactly that this is not okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
that's really what we're saying. Let's just get right down to it.
Yeah, this is not
isn't
okay.
okay. It doesn't feel fair.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have a question about that ape, though, for real. So
I
I'm
don't
trying
live
to-
inside the mind of an ape, so
I
I,
know,
will do
but-
my best. But
I'm trying to think. I don't know if the research
I
covered
mean, I
this.
do because I'm a human, and humans are
I know
apes.
what you
So
meant.
let's be clear about that. But anyway,
It's an ancestor.
So there's clearly a hierarchy of food that grape is better than celery. Otherwise, they wouldn't get mad.
Duh.
Right.
I am wondering
grape
what
is better than celery.
Okay. I'm wondering what is less than celery because I'm then wondering if the other ape had gotten the less than celery, if he still would have been that
It
mad.
would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what less than celery would be because, like I said, I'm not in troop, but it's the same. The same thing would happen if you gave one ape a grape and the other one you gave the dessert taco to, which is a fruit roll up with whipped cream in the middle of it.
Oh, I was
Or
just thinking of
marshmallow cream
ants
in
on
the
a
middle.
log. Have you seen ants on a log? That's like a good little toddler treat. It's basically
Yeah, I can't
celery
eat
with
that.
cream cheese and dried grapes. Right?
Raisins.
So
I thought ants on
raisins.
log was peanut butter, but yeah, same
Oh,
thing.
maybe
could
it's
be
peanut
peanut
butter.
butter.
I don't know.
It could be
But
peanut butter.
still,
'Cause I don't eat it.
the point is
Mm-hmm.
not about the actual food. It's about the fairness perception. And so,
right, exactly.
Well, I was
Right,
wondering.
and
I
it's-
honestly thought it was about the food. That's why I was asking.
No. It's
'Cause
about
I
the
thought it was
perception
about-
of you got something better than I did for doing the same thing. That's the issue. So if you
Yeah.
perform the same task I just performed, and I got paid a little bit, and you got paid more than me in this moment, celery versus grapes, there is an experience of unfairness in that moment. So my question is, when we're in our couples, when we perceive unfairness,
what's our move?
what's our move? And can we pause, because some of the instinct is going to be agitation, anger, maybe even retaliatory behavior.
Can I
And
pause
do you
you right
stop
there?
yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the piece, right? Like what if I want to offer another paradigm to our listeners. Like what if instead of it, what if you catch yourself before you move into retaliation, before you move into reactivity? What if you catch yourself in the moment where you go, this doesn't feel okay. I don't like this. Something about this kind of just rocked me. And what if in that moment you turn to your partner and you say something like, could we chat about this? Because that didn't feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
And what
Can we
if that's
slow
your
down
move?
here?
Yeah.
Can we slow down here? And I want to talk about something that's feeling off to me. And right or wrong, here's a fun phrase. Put this one in your back pocket. Right or wrong, what I'm feeling right now is.
Oh, I like that.
It. Love
Right?
it.
So then we don't have to get into an argument about whether or not
About
my
what's more
feeling
right.
is valid. It's more about, and by the way, if my partner comes to me and says, right or wrong, I'm feeling fill in the blank, I know that's a cue for me. My job in that moment is to be concerned with how he is feeling. Period.
Because I care about him.
It doesn't it doesn't matter what actually happened. It doesn't matter. Like if my partner's coming to me with that, it's like a little cue for me that's saying, hey, I need your care. Can you help me out?
right? So I wonder
Mhm.
how can, if your partner approaches you to talk about unfairness, how could you be with yourself in such a way that it's okay to listen to them and be with them in whatever that experience is? It doesn't mean you have to do the thing they want you to do. That's a
Mhm.
different question.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
throw in one more nuance here
Mhm.
because I think this is super important what we're talking about. And I'm
Mhm.
noticing that if you do this in the heat of the moment,
Mhm.
you're probably going to get hit with some resistance. And
Amen.
so it might be really helpful to make a note about this to yourself, journal for a
Mhm.
little bit, sit with yourself, figure out what you're feeling, and
Mhm.
then in a calmer time, another day, circle back
Mhm.
to it.
A cooler
Here's
time.
something I'm
Mhm.
noticing. You're
Mhm.
probably going to have
Especially
better
if it's a
results.
theme.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if there's a pattern.
if it's like an unusual thing and it's just happening in the moment, sometimes in the moment is totally fine and we
Mhm.
don't have to wait and meta process everything. But especially if it's a larger theme that seems to be going on, if you feel like there's a lot of tit for tat feedback going on, well, I did this for you, so why can't you do this for me? That's a fairness thing.
Which is the thing we're
Mhm.
getting in this question because the questioner says it's never ending. So
It's never
we're
Yeah.
ending.
already being
Mhm.
alluded to the pattern, right?
Yeah,
Like it's
exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so if you're dealing with a pattern, and whether it's about fairness or not, if you're dealing with a larger pattern, it is helpful to have those conversations in a meta way and in calm moments.
That's right.
Mhm.
Because I'm noticing a theme, I'm noticing a pattern. Can I talk to you about it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that's a really great place for us to land today.
Yeah, let's do it.
Take care
All
of each
right.
other. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That wraps up this week's episode. Join us again next week for another Why Does My Partner?
We hope that you continue to listen wherever you get your audio and that you'll follow the show.
To go deeper, join us at one of our workshops. You'll find our next date at whydoesmypartner.com.
Did you know you can ask us your questions?
Your questions are relational gold.
Go to whydoesmypartner.com to either write in or record your question for a future episode.
And here are some gratitudes. Thanks to Al Huberman, our sound editor and podcast production magic maker.
Thanks to every one of you who has joined us for our workshops in the past. We've learned so much from all of you.
And thanks to everyone who's reviewed the show on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews help others to find the show.
Take care of each other best you can.
See you next time.